So Season 2 of The Dragon Prince is out. You may or may not know because Netflix hasn't been advertising it all that much, which is a real shame. It actually dropped last Friday on February 15th. If you haven't watched it yet, you should definitely consider making your time to do so. This review is not going to be super long. It's probably not even going to break the 10-minute mark, which kind of sucks because 10-minute videos make more money and I require money to live. But whatever. That's fine. This review is very much going to build upon the review of Season 1 that I also have up on my channel. I'll try to remember to link it up in the little corner doohickey. This is going to be a spoiler-free review, so you don't have to worry about any specific spoilers. I'll be spoiling themes a little bit, but I don't see that as much of a problem. If even that bothers you, though, I want you to know right out the gate, this season was significantly better than the first season. Like, I already thought the first season was more than watchable, right? Like, one of you guys on social media summed up my review of the first season very succinctly when you said that I liked the season and thought it had potential. And that's pretty much true. I liked it. I thought it had potential, but I didn't think it was quite there yet. This season, though, is significantly better. Like, Season 1 was mostly introducing the cast of characters and then building the world a little bit. This season took all of that from Season 1 as a foundation and then built skyscrapers on top of it. We get very quickly reacquainted with our heroic characters, Callum and Ezran and Rayla, and even the newest member of their party, Zim, the Dragon Prince who hatched at the very end of last season, while also learning more about the siblings who are tracking them, Claudia and Soren, and their father Viren, who is the closest thing this show has to a central villain. And this is very much a Season 2. You won't get what's up with these characters if you haven't watched Season 1, but if you have watched Season 1, and you found it memorable at all, you're really going to love this season because it takes off and it never stops. It trusts its own writing from back in Season 1 enough that it operates on the assumption that we as the audience have started to see these characters as relatable people, and then it trusts the audience enough to send these characters over roller coasters of development very quickly. There's this recurring theme throughout this season of characters having to learn from the wisdom of others and apply it to their own lives in different ways that are different and specific and meaningful to them. And it's a very cool lesson to teach the kids who might be watching this to listen to what more knowledgeable people say and apply their knowledge to your own life. In fact, the little pearls of wisdom that were snuck in throughout the season were probably the best part, but I'll talk about that in a second. There's also a recurring theme throughout this season of characters reaching crossroads and having to make difficult decisions regarding which direction to go. We see this specifically in Viren, Claudia, Callum, and Ezran. And again, to avoid spoilers as much as possible, Viren's is probably the most interesting to me, honestly. Viren is still definitely the villain of the story, and he's still definitely power hungry, and he's still definitely not a wholly good person, but I still don't think that he's doing everything that he's doing for purely selfish reasons. I still think that he is doing what he's doing because he does want to save as many people as he can. He just has a very selfish, non-compassionate way of going about that. Like, we also learn a lot more about the history of this kingdom and its various conflicts and how it got to where it is now throughout a set of flashbacks this season. And between those flashbacks and between some of the stuff that Viren did in the present, it seems clear that he doesn't care about non-human species at all. And it does seem that he believes that people have their place. A soldier is meant to die for everyone else. That's their purpose, and he doesn't care if they die so long as they accomplish that purpose. So when he crosses a line, when he takes further steps into the pursuit of dark magic in order to accomplish his goals, and seems like he may have, if not changed his body forever, then changed his status forever, possibly for the negative, I found that really interesting. It almost seems like he's struggling not to be a true villain, but circumstance and his own poor choices are forcing him down the path to becoming one. That's such an interesting take. It hooked me very early on. Then you have Callum learning things about himself, making choices about himself, and then even at the end very physically taking a step over a dangerous boundary, which brings him closer to returning Zim to Zadia, which is the mission that these main characters have had since like episode 3 or something. Ezran has to make a choice, a very responsible grown-up choice, one that I didn't expect a kid his age to even be able to make, which actually puts him in direct conflict with Viren for the throne. And Claudia, mirroring her father, takes a further step in her pursuit of dark magic and it's framed as her very clearly crossing a line. In fact, you could argue that all of these characters in one way or another crossed a line. It's just only like half of them did so in a way which has a truly negative connotation. They have all crossed a line in that there really isn't any way to come back from the choices they made here, at least not easily. And all throughout it, they had the wisdom of their elders in mind. This is what I was getting at earlier. Like, I mentioned flashbacks, which give us some more history of this world. In those flashbacks, we get to know the king better, Ezran and Callum's father, whose name I do not remember at the moment. I apologize for that, because he's a fantastic character. The wisdom that came from him felt like that good old-fashioned Avatar: The Last Airbender writing, because recall, this show comes from a bunch of the guys who worked on that. The stuff that came out of his mouth, some of which other characters were repeating later on to help them with their own decision-making, it was just so refreshing. Like, again, I'm going to cite somebody on my social media. One of you guys pointed out that he reminded you of Uncle Iroh from Avatar. And I completely agree. The kind of stuff he said, it wasn't just wise-sounding platitudes. It was genuine wisdom. It felt like it had been earned by this person who's really just a character in a cartoon. It was so cool. Couple that with the fact that the animation, which I pointed out in my previous review, was kind of choppy on purpose as a stylistic choice, has been smoothed out here. Like, it still feels roughly the same, but it's not as annoyingly choppy as it used to be. They clearly made adjustments. And the fact that not only the action set pieces in this season were fantastic, but the humor was fantastic. Like, I can't remember the last time I laughed this much at a cartoon since I watched Gravity Falls for the first time. And keeping in mind the fact that this season did take everything that was good from season 1 and built it up into something great. And I would say this is one of the best seasons of animated television, if you can even call Netflix television at this point, that I have seen in a long time. This doesn't just have the potential to reach the same heights as Avatar: The Last Airbender. I think it's already beginning to at this point. If you're someone who likes Avatar, if you're someone who likes fantasy in general, if you're someone who watched the first season, and like I did, you thought it showed a lot of potential, you need to watch this season. It's so good. Like, there's stuff in this season which is great that I haven't even touched on offhandedly because I want that much not to spoil this experience for you guys. Just trust me and go watch it. And tell your friends to watch it too, because it doesn't seem like a lot of people are paying attention to this show, and they need to be. Like, if you need just one more incentive to watch the show, I will tell you this much, and this is a mild spoiler, so skip to the end if you don't want to see it. There is a sequence this season where one of the characters is having one of those creepy, like, inner dream journey things to learn something about himself. And it's clearly a serious moment because it could be a life or death struggle. We don't know for sure, but it seems like it is. It seems like if this character fails to survive this inner journey, he might die. But it's not pretentious. The writing throughout it makes sense. When the character comes out of this inner journey, the new wisdom that they have learned because of it makes sense based on what we saw, what they heard as they were having this inner journey, and it truly furthers the character as a character. You understand the character better after the fact. It's not just a medium for cool visuals, as most such plot lines are. And in completing this journey, not only does the character fight his way back to life, he also learns something about himself, discovers a new power within himself, and even proves something about all people that we didn't know about before, which may change the entire shape of this world. It was one of those moments where in most shows they pretend like they're profound. They have a profound effect on the characters, and we just have to trust that we were supposed to feel how profound it was for ourselves. But it actually feels profound from the audience's perspective, and that's some really damn good writing. Obviously, I loved this season of this show. Obviously, I am at the edge of my seat waiting for them to announce the third season and when we're going to get it. As per usual, though, I'd love to know, what do you think of the second season of The Dragon Prince, if you have seen it? Let's get a discussion going in the comments section down below, or over on my Discord, link in the description. But either way, this has been AJ22, and I will talk to you guys later.